Hello everyone watching at home, this is Adelaide Eternal and we're bringing you the fourth round of our monthly Eternal tournament. This one is Highlander. Whilst our players are... I'm Sarven McLinton and this is Beckett Wolfe next to me.
G'day guys, we're quickly losing track, man. They're already,
I know, it's
they're already showing
there.
us their hands.
Alright, well let's go have a look at their deck lists whilst they're resolving mulligans. So on the right we have Cameron Bird. He was featured earlier on in the day with the sweet Swan Song tech.
Quack.
Quack quack. Making a duck is pretty useful. It worked out well for him. So he's on the same list as before that we saw. So just in short, as you can see on the screen, it's all about reanimating big, powerful creatures from the graveyard that you wouldn't otherwise be able to cast for their mana costs. And all of the cards in there are geared to do it fast. So fast mana, really cheap reanimation spells, really cheap filtering to draw and discard through your deck. So let's turn our attention to Socrates. So Socrates Stavropoulos is the first time he's been on camera today. He is on this list, which is the blue-red Blue Moon deck, and it involves those two win cons, the Splinter Twin style combo win and the Time Vault combo win, and at the same time you're using Blood Moon and Back to Basics type effects to keep your opponent off the game and disrupt them and protect your combo with a variety of counterspells.
Let's get to the games, I reckon, Sar.
Alright.
So they've already drawn and shown us hands. Here we go. That's a decent, although it's only got one island. I think it's a mulligan, actually. Yeah.
So in this match, having an early interaction for the blue deck is probably most important. We actually saw this very similar type of matchup with a Blue Moon deck versus the Reanimator deck, and at the end of the day, it was all about that cheap interaction, wasn't it? Mental missteps and spell snares and all the counter spells that only cost one.
And there it is, spell snare, 3 lands, ponder top. That's what you want to see.
This is quite balanced, especially with Scry. So this is the...
Yeah, who's on the play?
Yeah, I'm not sure if they decided. It looks like Socrates is moving to do something, so he might be on... No, he's not. Okay, so I'm definitely in favour of the combo deck. Game one.
Game one.
Game one on the play.
Game one on the play. It's got to be combo deck, but obviously post-sideboard they're going to have a bit of trouble facing off against anti-graveyard stuff. But yeah, I mean, Spell Snack could do work for Sock.
Spell Snack is strong.
There's a lot of like Animate Dead, Dance of the Dead, Exhume, Collective Brutality you can hit, which do work.
Definitely. So it's Preordain with the incorrect art. It's the Venser versus Koth dual deck.
It's not as good, but I don't think it's strictly incorrect.
Oh, it's not the original print. It's not the original print. So
you'd have us all playing white border cards.
Original would be black, but white. I'll excuse it.
Are there any original white border cards?
Port of Three Kingdoms. So Imperial Seal, original white bordered card. That would be the original print. To be technical,
it hasn't been reprinted. No, they've done a judge, haven't they? They've done a judge.
They have,
Imperial
but
Seal.
it's technically not the original print.
So it's incorrect, is it?
Well, it's the only pimp one. So pimp and original, sometimes not always the same. But on the left we have Socrates fetching out a volcanic island. Original. I think this is a Vulcan Schnitzel. This is one of the foreign black bordered ones. And he's fetching it off the original signed foil Polluted Delta. So
it's
definitely
nice,
man after my heart. Sensei's Divining Top. And unfortunately, this takes him off. I mean, personally for me, I would leave that mana open to use Spell Snack. If you want to snare someone's 2 mana play, now's the time to do it. But he might be having that sick read where he knows his opponent doesn't have an Oath of Druids or something else to play turn 2.
Yeah, look, I don't mind it from Sock actually because there's no fatty in the bin yet. Of course, there could be, Careful Study, Reanimate, but of course, Careful Study, Reanimate is not a 2-drop. So I think it actually is going to be tough for Cameron to...
Yeah, as you can see, he didn't leverage that advantage of the 2-drop around Spell Snare. But if you... If for example Collective Brutality came out, you'd be kicking yourself.
Yeah, a little bit, but I like having the top down. He can look at the top, put the worst 2 on the top and then preordain them or ponder them or shuffle them away, etc. So.
Yep. Given that your opponent, so here's a ponder. Given that your opponent didn't make a turn 2 play and played a colourless land, I am inclined to use the Fire and Ice that's in Sock's hand in upkeep to ice tap the blue-black source and then draw a card. It just gets you a little bit further into the game and allows you to hit all of your land drops.
That's right, and that's what Sock wants to be doing, getting deep into the game.
Yeah, but instead he opted to go for the perfectly fine ponder option, and it keeps 1 mana open for Spell Snare and for his Sensei's Divining Top. Look, here we see why there was no 2-drop on Cameron Bird's side, which was because he wanted to cast Brainstorm.
Also explains the colourless land. He's clearly kept colourless land and underground and or Ternan, hoping to hit an extra land drop off that Brainstorm. Hopefully he hasn't Brainstorm locked himself.
Yeah, I can see it. I can see a situation where you wait for the next turn to get the land drop, but it might not harm him. So he does have
Petal.
Oh, he's got Petal.
Yeah,
so he's got something to go with.
It's not great though.
No, it's not ideal. But if there ever was a time, now is the time, because his opponent has tapped down 1 mana and he's off Mana Leak, Remand, and all those spells. Careful Study. So drawing 2 cards, discarding 2 cards. Let's see what Socrates has to say about it. Nothing. He says okay. So these early turns, the reason that we're being so critical of the early turns is because this is really where the game is decided in this particular matchup. Reanimator, a combo deck versus a control deck. If the control deck can set up once they're at 4 or 5 mana beyond that point, it's a lot easier for them to maneuver, and it's a lot worse for the combo deck to maneuver.
Yeah, I agree, Sav. I think a lot of people think that they really need to think hard when it's a complicated board state, but this isn't a very complicated board state, but it's very, very critical how you tap your mana and what you do.
Yeah, and here we have an exchange of Exhume to return Jin Cataxius, which is met by Spell Snare, but there's a Dispel there, and Dispel obviously counters the instant.
Pretty strong stuff there. The Petal actually did work because he ended up finding his second land, so
yeah.
He was able to have the Exhume with the Dispel backup, which is pretty good, and he's obviously got the Critter in the bin.
Yep, that's right. Now, for a strictly blue-red only twin deck, it is really hard to answer this aside from, say, Venser or Cryptic Command Bounce, which you cannot do next turn because it will only be on 3 mana. So this is why I personally play that very tiny white splash, because I get to have a Swords to Plowshares, I get to have a Yanni Vengeance, and I get to have Restoration Angel.
And now Cameron Berg has to have 7 extra cards in hand with no maximum hand size.
Yeah, hey, I'd definitely be on that combo side. It's
oh,
lovely.
is it no maximum hand size? Maybe it isn't.
No,
oh, that's even better, because now he gets to discard further critters, but
Correct.
it looks like he's just discarding excess lands.
He's just far ahead, so just discarding the land.
This is going to be game 2 pretty soon, I reckon.
Oh yeah, yep. Like I said, the only answers in the blue-red deck are Venser and Cryptic. The only way you can deal with that resolved fatty is to bounce it. So, I mean, there's probably some niche scenarios where you go Lightning Bolt, Fire and Ice.
What do we have last time, mate? We had old mate Vidalcan Shackles. Untap land Shackles, and then take
work.
10 life, and Shackles the Jin Cataxius, you're back in the game.
It was on the list of outs, but it wasn't good. Well, it didn't work. But he might have Lightning Bolt, Fire and Ice, which is a nice combo. Oh, I say nice, I mean to say it's his only possible way to kill that Jin Cataxius.
Yeah, it's only got 4 toughness, the Jin Cataxius.
Yeah, and Cameron Bird has already drawn 7 cards, which is going to put him so far ahead anyway.
Let's see what the man does. He does have Bolt, and he does have Fire Ice, it looks like.
There you go. He's got the answer.
Wow.
So, if he does it, then what it does is say, get rid of the Jin, and you keep 2 more cards, the remaining 2 cards in your hand. Doesn't say he's going to win.
Oh,
it just says it's all he can do.
Sock's losing card advantage in the fact that he's got to exchange 2 spells to kill this, and he's already lost 7 cards.
Lead with a misstep, though. Don't lead with a Fire and Ice. Reason being, you're lead with a Lightning Bolt, not the Fire and Ice, because if your opponent has Mental Misstep, you're going to get blown out here. Didn't get blown out, but it's just a better sequencing to not get blown out. You'd still keep...
I think if you saw the misstep, though, you'd be skipping either way.
Oh, absolutely. But at least you can, I don't know,
No,
use
I
the fire
agree.
and ice to
I
do
agree.
something.
I agree.
2 more damage to the face instead, then discard your hand.
Look, Cameron's in a good spot, obviously.
Oh yeah.
But
He just needs any other
he's not out of
reanimation
it.
spell. Or any other reanimation spell gets in, the Jin-Gataxias back again, and it's pretty much the end of the road there. That was Sock's only. There you go. Sock's only possible way to deal with it. But you could draw land Venser.
But remember, Cameron's going to be drawing another 7 cards.
We're talking about some very niche outs. If you didn't already know,
about
about 5 minutes ago the game was over.
Sock needs to activate top to find misstep. Blind find misstep and misstep that is surely the only out, right? Yeah. Yep. Oh, he's put that Bazaar back in the bin.
He hates Bazaar.
He hates
Baghdad.
Bazaar.
You know that. If Cameron Bird is watching this, he can probably comment in the comment section
Say,
and tell
I
us.
won anyway, Beckett.
Yep, rub it in on Beckett and say Bazaar of Baghdad is bad. More of Bazaar of bad dad.
Got
am
him.
I right?
Absolutely got him. What's the deal with Bazaar of Baghdad? I mean, Baghdad's obviously a real place.
Yeah, so magic.
They just said, you know what? We've got this magical world with elves, but Baghdad also exists.
Yeah, Baghdad and Library of Alexandria, and there were a lot
Library of Alexandria a real place?
Yeah. Not right now. Not currently. So the references to real world and magic were taken out when they decided that they wanted to market it in a different manner. But in the early days, references to the real world were one of the ways to keep it resonant with players.
Wow, there you go. We're learning something new. That's really interesting, actually, Sarv.
So here we go. We have Time Vault, and he's, I think, activating Sensei's Divining Top with the additional one. Oh no, he activated already then, the Sensei's Divining Top. And he discards this card, which is Mystic Confluence, which he probably was never going to play anyway. And he did track down the Judge Foil Mystic Confluence. Very nice. Looks nice. The advantage here is he has a Sensei's Divining Top ready to activate and try and find that key. He really needs the key.
Yeah, Cameron's on the pump.
That's 3 mana. What's 3 mana? Dak Faden.
Oh, yeah.
Cameron Bird didn't choose the Dak Life. Dak Life chose him.
For those watching at home, if you can't see Sock's face, it looks very similar to his playmat right now. If I was to describe, I mean, a picture says 1,000 words, Sarv, and Sock there holding his jewellery, his Power 9. It was a really, really nice portrait done by his daughter, so that was lovely.
Yeah. And now he's angry because Dak Faden turns up and takes his precious. So, if you haven't already seen the Dak Life references, please go and see the undefeated finals of the last vintage tournament, and you'll get to see some sneaky little memes hidden in there. Some great imagery and music for you. Back to the Highlander.
Yeah, going to sideboards, I think so.
After sideboarding, who do you think is favoured here?
After sideboarding, definitely Sock's deck gets a lot better.
Completely agree. So Socrates has access to a variety of 1 mana interactive spells.
One of the Sub's always bagging on the Time Vault version because Sub doesn't run Time Vault in his blue-red. But one of the advantages is Trinket Mage can search up some of those 1 mana graveyard hate stuff like Grafdigger's Cage, Relic Progenitus, etc. So, putting those in, and it's a bit easier to find them. So, or even with the Teferi, does he have? Yeah. He doesn't actually have a. Oh, he does have Grafdiggers, but he doesn't have Relic Progenitus in the sideboard. So he's also running. What did you call it? Beb.
Yeah. So you know how you have Pyroblast, Red Elemental Blast, and you call Red Elemental Blast Reb because it's easy, and then obviously Blue Elemental Blast and Hydroblast, so Beb for them. It's easier just to say Red Beb.
Because they're running all 4.
Because you run all 4. You run Pyro, Hydro, Reb, and Beb. So just call them Red Beb.
You're running Fire Spout as well.
That's 4 sideboard slots done. Just write that on your deck list. Anyone who does that, you get some bonus points. Just write Red Beb, and it'll take up 4 of the sideboard slots.
REBBEB.
Yeah,
I know what you mean.
Done. Simple. I don't run the Bebs, but that's because I have white in my deck, so I have access to more powerful, swingy white sideboard cards. But when you're only on red and blue, then they're some of the best. Very cheap interaction. The Bebs are really good at killing, red finishers or blood moons or any other things that are just annoying you. Obviously, in this particular deck, you won't use your Bebs to kill blood moon, but against if you're playing a Dark Bance type list and you need to run Beb, or if you're playing any other kind of bug lists and you need to kill a blood moon, Bebs are there. Bebs are there for you.
I think Negate's coming in. Submerge will be coming in.
Yep.
I think obviously Graph Digger's Cage.
Admittedly, did he see the trop in this particular match? Because not everyone gets to see all of the green producing lands, and most of the time they end up seeing Mana Confluence and those types of lands, but they don't always see the trop. I think there's only a singleton, well, obviously singleton trop. I think there's only 1, maybe 2 green sources in his deck that are forests to turn on Submerge.
That's a good point, actually, Re-Submerge. What about any of the Red Bebs? It's really a black deck, isn't it?
Yeah, I would definitely bring in the Rebs, easy. The Bebs, you can decide on whether or not you want to counter a gamble, faithless looting. If you're bringing in the Rebs anyway for the careful studies, if you want to hit faithless looting 2, there's your Bebs. But I don't know if I bring it all 4.
No, I'm not a massive
Maybe 3.
fan of countering 1 mana cycle, careful studies and such, but
it's better than having a Cryptic Command in your deck, that's for sure.
Yeah, I'll play that. Well, the Cryptic can tap.
Yeah, you're never going to get to that turn. Not against it. It's unlikely.
Here we go to Besiege, a fantastic spell for Python as well.
So
I actually really like
basics,
Camera's hand and also Sock's hand. So it looks like it's going to shape up to be a good game.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm always on the side of the blue control match, but oh, look at that!
Turn 1 brainstorm,
and your hand's already good, Sock.
Oh, there's the Cryptic.
No, he's kept Cryptic in. Yeah, see, I sideboard very aggressively in these matchups because I want to make sure
You don't really need too much advantage because you're already going to get the card advantage every time they play Faceless Looting, so you don't need to work hard for your card advantage anymore.
Yeah, just counter their relevant stuff, and to do that you need 1 mana counters, maybe 2 mana counters.
Yeah, it's a good
most.
point, so.
So yeah, I played against Cameron in this tournament, and our matchup was decided largely by the fact that I had sideboarded in all of these things. We actually both had a Dak Faded on each side, just sitting there drawing. And guess what? Your deck's just better when you can answer everything that they do. He just had too many, Lotus Petals and things that don't actually do anything after that.
Yeah, well, Taxium Probe, very, very important, the information in a matchup like this.
100%.
Sock definitely hoping to get another Island. I'm wondering why he put Engineered Explosives in. Do you think it's to hit the Animate Dead, which is an enchantment, or Dance of the Dead, which is an enchantment?
I would. I don't necessarily say I would do that, but I definitely understand if that was his logic. And he had worse cards to take out. If you've got slots and you need to put something in, put in some kind of cheap interaction.
It doesn't seem amazing because the other thing is
I wouldn't do it.
Well, Sock can only produce two colours, so it's going to be very difficult for him to get it past 2. Can't really imagine what else he'd want to put it up for, but I'm wondering if it's even worth running in the deck. Do you think Ratchet Bomb might be better?
I think neither.
I don't think Ratchet Bomb's good in this matchup.
No. Just to clarify.
Sock will be kicking himself with that Besieger as well.
Yeah,
it's going to be tough.
True. So it's
3 counters in hand and a Besieger.
Yeah. Yeah, see, Engineered Explosives has a versatility and it pays for that in terms of speed. It's just not very fast. So Thoughtseize.
Oh, I reckon I'd be taking the Vendilion Click here. Vendilion Click, fantastic. Of course, it hits the hand, but it doesn't put the thing to graveyard, so you can actually hit the fatty.
You might be surprised he might take Flusterstorm. Because remember, he's all in on combo. And
with the
I'm not
Besiege
saying
though?
he will, but it's possible that you just go, I hate Flusterstorm, I can't beat it, and I want to do my combo, but I can play around days, and I can have a counter spell for.
Oh, or Pestamite.
Well, your opponent has no extra lands, so I mean, if I want to combo out, I'll take Flusterstorm in next turn combo because it's the only thing that he can interact
You
with.
think
aside
he
from
could have
days.
just? I would have just Flusterstormed to Thoughtseize maybe, because you can Flusterstorm, force him to pay 2. Is Flusterstorm going to be that good with the Besiege?
So here he's taking Pestamite, which means that Cameron Bird is happy to play the long game, which is very bizarre. It's not something you normally see. So this means that his hand is geared to play the long game, and he's okay with them.
I think I would have taken the Pestamite. I don't want to just lose to turn 3 Pestamite, turn 4 Twin.
And that involves him drawing 3 cards, 2 more lands, and a Spectre Twin. So.
But that's what I mean.
Yeah.
I think Cameron's in a really good spot. He's shut off a lot of the mana.
Yeah, he's hiding behind Boseiju. He's going, well, I don't have to take Flusterstorm and Daze and Counterspell if I just make sure that I've got my Boseiju to power the things out.
I think you need a little bit more than Boseiju.
Yeah.
You know,
you got to be
hypothetically, Boseiju can protect everything, but in reality, it doesn't. It doesn't always work out that way. But you know, it's pretty good against Sock's hand. It's what you want to be seeing.
Can you see what I mean about, and I know you probably agree already, but about that brainstorm? See how Socrates had 2 lands and he brainstormed turn 1? It's possible you just pass the turn and you wait until a time like now when you want to brainstorm. So you don't see the same cards over again. You're more likely to hit that 3rd land drop and hopefully shuffle away the others.
And even for information, post Thoughtseize, you can hide the relevant cards versus the Thoughtseize, or even against the Taxian Probe, you can stop prevent their information. And
what do you think about this putting out the engineer explosives for 0 to kill the Lotus Petal?
I guess it does something.
It's something. It's better than doing nothing, is what Socrates is saying.
A card, but if you're going to be slowing down this much, because obviously you can't do much with your counters, then the game's going to go late anyway, which means land drops will be hit.
True.
So Lotus Petal's not very good in that case anyway.
No, this is true. The only thing I can see Sock thinking is, damn, I've missed my 3rd land drop. The only interaction I really have is Daze and Flusterstorm together against 2 possible spells that aren't Boseiju. And if I destroy his Lotus Petal, that's going to remove one of the possible mana to pay for the things.
Oh, he's a good example of, mind you, something you don't really want to counter, but something that you can't Boseiju protect.
I think yes, definitely. He can't do it when he's casting it, but he can use the Boseiju to pay 1 mana for Days and.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah. Yeah, you can use it. You can tap mana to add to your mana pool, and if it happened to be used to play a spell.
Wow. So then it wouldn't be able to be counted. So if he Flusterstorms and it was forced to pay 4, and he paid for one of those copies with a Boseiju, therefore now this spell can't be counted.
Judge.
Judge.
I was thinking just about paying the mana, but yeah, let's see if that works.
Wow. Because you are paying.
You're paying the mana.
You're paying the mana cost. The mana cost.
But it's not the mana cost. But you're paying the mana to play the spell.
But you're not paying the mana to play the spell. You're paying the mana to play for days. So I don't think it does work.
If Thalia is out, he can pay 3 mana for his Is it charm, and it will be uncounterable.
Yes.
But I don't think it works
because you're paying off days. You're not paying for the mana cost.
Correct.
It's an interesting world, isn't it? The old MTG.
Yeah.
Do you know any other cards that are like bizarre from that reference real world places or things?
I'm sure we could go through them.
That was really interesting.
There's a lot in flavor text. If you go through the flavor text, you'll get some references to the Canterbury Tales, Chaucer, and a variety of different
Shakespeare quote or something.
Yeah.
Guys, check it out, and please find any real world quotes. Post them in the comments below, or approach me and tell me in person. Thank you.
Sounds good. So here we have an interesting one where Flusterstorm is actually, there's 3 copies of it because the Engineer Explosives was played this turn, and now in response we have Flusterstorm. So for those who don't know how this works, because Storm puts copies of the spell onto the stack, equal to the number of other spells that are played during the turn. That's why we call it your storm count. The second Flusterstorm, so i.e. Socrates has played as Flusterstorm and Karen Bird is responding with Flusterstorm, he can place a copy of Flusterstorm from his side on each copy of Flusterstorm from Socrates' side, and you have one more as well, because his storm is now one more.
Sock's got the meta to play it. Flusterstorm, fantastic card, counters great spells like Flusterstorm.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a Flizzleflom battle, and this is something that Cameron Bird has been training for. He's been prepared for. Flizzleflom, he's seen Flizzleflom referred to so many times in our videos, all because of him, and now he's getting the Flizzleflom war.
It's quite a big fight over the Flizzleflom. I think Sock is realizing that because of the Besieger, this might be one of his only chances to use these counter spells. So, even though it's not ideal, he at least gets to do something. So
it usually seems weird to fight over something like this, especially since it's the end of Socrates' turn, and he's going to go to Cameron Bird's turn, and he can cast the things he actually really cares about. But Socrates is rationalizing, well, if you're Is It Charming to draw and discard, maybe you're really trying to get rid of some fatties, or maybe you're really trying to find a reanimation spell, and one of those things might be uncounterable. So if I use them up now, hopefully I'm going to deny you. So essentially countering the enabler rather than countering the actual business spell, which will probably be uncounterable.
Yeah, so while Sock has to pay an extra copy because the Flusterstorm created one extra copy than Sock's Flusterstorm, he does actually have the Mountain untapped, so he can pay 2 life, misstep one of the copies, and pay the Mountain for the other copy, which is a really interesting interaction. Seems a bit weird to spend an entire card of Mental Misstep to counter a copy of something, but at the end of the day, if it means he resolves his Flizzleflom and counters the Is It Charm, then I guess it's pretty good.
Yeah, it might not work out that way though, because I don't know if Socrates has read the fact that the Seiju, who shelters all, or told me so, told me that you can pay 1 mana to pay for Flusterstorm. So just keep that in mind. Sometimes you look at Boseiju and you think, oh, you can only use that to cast the spells. You can't, but you can actually use it to add 1 colorless mana to your mana pool. It's painful. It's a painful mana, but you can do it.
Yeah, it seems worth it to get a Jingataxis out, doesn't it?
Yeah, so now I believe Socrates called the Brains Trust. This is a community event, so sometimes we often operate and ensure that we aren't giving additional information to the players, but sometimes they just honestly want to know exactly what happens in this interaction, and using the dice helps represent it clearer on the camera. So there's 3 copies of one Flusterstorm, 4 of the other one, but usually when you're in a Flusterstorm fight, just remember, if you respond to Flusterstorm with Flusterstorm, there's 1 more for you.
Sock also has the days. If he wants to go really, really deep, after Cameron pays for the Flusterstorm copy with his own Besieger, Sock could daze another Flusterstorm copy.
This is true. It will be extremely painful when he casts Daze, returns the island to his hand, and the next draw for the next turn is another land. And he's been waiting for that 3rd land. That will be absolutely brutal. But when you don't think there's a land on the horizon, then hey, why not? Easy days.
I gotta say, easy days indeed. An engineered explosive is looking pretty silly. Might be able to kill some spirit tokens. Yeah.
Well, this will be... so who's 1 up here? It's Cameron Bird is 1 up, right? Because he just comboed off crazy in game 1.
He did.
So Socrates really is trying to push here to try and get an additional game on the board. Otherwise, he's going to be knocked out.
I mean, if Sock can survive this turn, even though it looks like he's in a bad place, he can just rip Graph Diggers.
Yeah, why not? Why not? They're outs. They're legitimate outs. So today we didn't have either of us on camera.
Thank goodness for that. I placed pretty low. I thought I played well, but I placed pretty low today, on this day, and yeah, I'm glad I wasn't filmed losing to Rick Borges. So
there you go. Gutter Snipe gets ya.
For those not in the know, Sarven ended up winning this tournament. So congratulations to him.
I sneakily made sure that I wasn't on camera though, because I knew I wanted to watch these videos back. And hey, there's a selfish reason. I like to watch Magic, and I don't find it as much fun watching myself play, especially having remembered the games.
As long as you don't misplay, I'm happy to watch myself as long as I haven't done anything embarrassing.
Yeah, so
We're hypercritical of other people, but yeah, God forbid I ever do a mistake.
I came to this tournament with a brew of my own, which is basically the blue-red twin deck, dropping Time Bolt, Voltaic Key, Ral Zarek, Tezzeret the Seeker, which are, in my opinion, not ideal. And instead of them, I run a couple of white cards. I get to have a Tundra in there, and I get to run Swords of Plowshares and Restoration Angel and Ajani Vengeant. And then my sideboard gets better as well because I get timely reinforcements and wear and tear and all those other kind of things. So I really like tempo. I really like the old modern days of actually playing Splinter Twin and tempoing people out. And on the tournament today we had 5 rounds, and of all of the matches and all throughout all the games that I played, I only comboed off once. So if that was you listening, I comboed off against you. I don't know who it was against now, but everyone else I tempoed. So I just like beating in the air with Restoration Angel. I like flash threats, and I like Ajani Vengeant, lightning helixing things, and it's fun. It's great. Tempo. In the meantime, they're still working out the Fluster Storm, aren't they?
Looks like they're getting towards the end of it. It
Okay.
seems like Soc's gonna missed at the last copy of Flizzleflom.
Have you ever played Fizzleflom on Magic Online? Or it's probably one of the notoriously worst cards to cast because you have to manually click each copy of Flusterstorm against another copy of Flusterstorm. And if you misclick, you will lose. You will just cause yourself to screw up. But here we go. Now we've got Cameron Bird calling attention to the fact that he can pay 1 mana and 2 life and pay for a Flusterstorm. So this might end up ruining Socrates' day. And
Daze.
That's right. He's going to go, well, I'm going to daze it. There we go. So at the end of the days, we have nothing resolving, right? That was all over the Is It Charm. And we go back down to Socrates down to 2 cards in hand and an island off the board, and useless engineered explosives on the board. It's not a good place to be in. I would not want to be on Socrates' side right now. But then we have Cameron untapping to his turn and having 4 cards in hand. I think I'd rather be comboing right now. That's definitely where you want to be.
That top card could be Grafdiggers, mate.
Oh, here we go. And, there we go. So the Is It Charm truly was important, and Socrates chose the right fight.
Which is probably why Cameron fought over it.
Yeah.
I normally wouldn't fight over a...
just let it go, and then you go, hey, I've got Flusterstorm to cover my second spell in the next turn after I Besage the other
But
one.
it does make sense. If Cameron's got a handful of fatties, then he doesn't have a handful of gas, does he?
Yeah. So
he doesn't have a hand.
Worked out well picked by Sock on where to fight the fight, and he's really leveraged it because now he's actually gained about 3 turns here, all because something couldn't be discarded.
Unfortunately, he still hasn't hit a sideboard card like, as I said, Grafdiggers.
Or a third land.
He's got his third land. Now he can have a click, which seems pretty good. But it's going to be Magus. That's also good.
100%. Very nice. That's the way to go. Now this is going to be rough. We really were in Cameron Bird's side, really expecting him to win after that untap. But
yeah, definitely.
Socrates did it well. He really chose the right fight, and it has really hampered Cameron Bird's ability to play the game. However, he does have Null Rod. Well, it does nothing. So
wait, no, whoa! It
does nothing.
It stops that engineered explosive. Oh, is that because
it does nothing?
That's its That's its text, by the way. It's flavor text.
Next level.
Those listening at home, is that a quote from a real world thing?
Oh well, I don't know what it was.
Is that
referencing.
Shakespeare side?
So here we go. The bear.
Getting in there. Get in there, Magus.
Does this think it reminds you of Cimmerian Spirit Guide? Those kind of guys that just they have a purpose, but sometimes they end up just being a tutu.
Dak Faden here to steal the Null Rod. That's going to be huge.
I want the thing that does nothing.
It's really going to do nothing.
Yeah, Dak Faden to be able to loot through the rest of the deck is really, really important. So if he does have Dak Faden in hand, I would be... Oh, maybe he's got a counterspell and he's holding it up. He's got actual counterspell, but that's moot.
He's
Can't
got
actually
negate
cast it.
as well, mate.
Oh, negate. Very nice. Yeah, this is pretty much all sealed up then, because anything that tries to remove the Magus of the Moon will be countered.
They're not adjusting the life totals there, but I think it's not quite
It's a lot
18,
tighter,
13.
yeah.
I think it might be.
It's closer to the wire now.
Yeah, closer to the wire. Click's going to really put work in.
Yep.
Ooh,
Cameron Bird sees the writing on the wall. Always good to see when someone knows when it's time to scoop.
Well, why show additional information?
Absolutely, because he might find a way to answer Magus of the Moon, but he doesn't want to show that because he knows that the writing's on the wall. He'll have a lethal swing from Vanilla Cliff or something. So
really well played from Sock there, I thought.
Oh, he's looking at the Bazaar of Baghdad. He's thinking about whether I should take it out or not.
No, don't do it, Cameron.
This is down to game 3 now. This is going to be interesting, seeing as Cameron Bird's changing a little bit of his sideboard. So Socrates might be second guessing that engineered explosives.
Yeah, I think once you've actually played with it and realised that you don't like it, maybe even Dak. I know you're a big fan of Dak.
Dak. Keep Dak in. It
was the engineered coming out there, by the way, Sarv.
There we go. He knew it was bad. Dak Faden is... A lot of the time people are tempted to take him out because they can't think of a better card to remove. Now, the reason why you don't take Dak Faden out, and I'll put a caveat on this, that the only time I really take Dak Faden out is against aggro, because against aggro he doesn't do anything. He's like a null rod. He can't gain control of a useful artifact because they're usually equipment, and you can't equip it to a Venser because by the time you do, you're dead. And filtering doesn't do you anything because it has no measurable impact on the board on the turn or turn before you're about to die. So that's the time where I take Dak Faden out. Every other time, I slide Dak Faden towards the front of the deck because I'm trying to think of things to take out. He stays in because when you think about it, Dak Faden is like the gel. He's the glue that holds the deck together, and he allows you to loot. He allows you to fix your draws. He allows you to power out Dig Through Time and Treasure Cruise, and he turns on things like Snapcaster Mage. And it would be the same as, say, taking out a Preordain. You go, oh, I need to find something to cut. Oh, I'll just cut this Preordain. It's taking out really, really important structural integrity to your deck.
I blew it. I messed up.
I know. When people get me into discussions on on things like Dak Faden and anything played in vintage blue decks and Highlander Twin, oh no, I'll talk your ear off. Sorry about that, everyone listening at home.
Yeah, well, you've heard it here first, guys. Don't take your darn Dax out. Inquisition, Thoughtseize, Brainstorm, and a few lands and a fatty is pretty good.
Yeah, this is nice. On second thought, it's bad.
I think it's...
When you see Pyroblast or Red Elemental Blast and Blood Moon, it's like, oh, I'm loving this hand. You start to fan the hand out, and you see the next card, and the next card, you realise it's 5 lands.
It's particularly bad against the old Thoughtseize Rooney, though.
Oh, yeah. Did he keep it?
Yeah, he's kept it.
Wow. He's on the draw. You keep a hand with a single payoff spell on turn 3 against the combo deck. That seems wrong.
I guess he's just hoping that with only red mana, Cam can't actually reanimate.
Hey, I would completely agree with you, but there's no chance you're getting to turn 3 when it's technically your opponent gets 3 turns before you actually get to do that. And you can't protect that from an Izzet Charm counterspell because he takes it. He knows. Yeah, I think this is a loose keep. This is the loosest of keeps. This is real baggy pants that he's wearing.
I think it's a loose keep. Oh, I don't know. I wouldn't personally keep it.
You get a scry. You get a scry. Mull to 6 and get a scry.
I don't think it's awful though. Blood Moon's really good. You've got a 1-drop that can interact somehow with something. I mean, you could just reb a Jin Gitaxias, you know.
You could, but also your opponent could just go Entomb, Exhume. Hey, I've got Iona. I name blue.
Yeah.
Why name red?
They could.
Yeah. So, given that your opponent, the entire game plan of theirs is to play within the first 2 turns of the game, I wouldn't keep the hand of 5 lands, 1 spell that interacts.
I don't think Cameron's deck's quite that fast. He's not running Lotus. He's not running Moxies.
Oh, he's running Mox Jet. He's running Lotus Petal. Is he
running Mox Jet?
Yeah, he's running Diamond or something. He's something like three of them. Plus, obviously, after sideboard, he's got these Inquisition, Duress type effects, Dits. For those who don't call them, Dits. You've heard of Red Beb? Now you're thinking of Dits.
Or hits.
Duress, Inquisition, Thoughtseize is Dits. And Dits, Duress, him, Inquisition, Thoughtseize. But now we have, where do we add in Collective Brutality?
Dicks.
I made him say it. It's actually a PG, so.
Dicts. It's dicts.
Yeah.
As in dictate.
Here we go.
Dang.
This should be counted 100%. I mean, how many times do you get someone to draw 2 cards, discard 2 cards, and untap all lands? Oh no, it looks like there's no Reb anymore. Reb's gone into the graveyard from a Thoughtseize. So Cameron thoroughly cleared out Socrates' hand and then allowed him to play pretty much one of the strongest, if not the strongest cards in this deck, Faceless Looting. Not Faceless Looting, that one.
Was that Animate Dead?
This one.
It's going to be on
the blue one that lets you untap 3 lands.
Frantic Search.
Frantic Search. Faceless Looting, Frantic Search. They're all very desperate, aren't they?
They are.
Yeah.
They are.
Yeah. I think that's the point, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, it's not a point, though, for those at home. He's getting to draw 7 cards, and now Socrates needs to, top deck Venser Shaper Savant and somehow have 2 more land in play. I don't think this is going to be a very pretty game when you get to discard your opponent's hand and you get to draw another 7 every turn of the game.
What could he have?
What are the outs?
What has he got?
The duck. Swan Song Quack Quack is in there.
There's no wear for the wear tear on the Animate Dead. There's no...
Yeah.
It's already too late.
You can see why I love that white splash, because like wear right here. Look, you can wear tear. You can wear the Animate Dead. Wear tear.
But where would you...
where would you do it? I would wear the Animate Dead.
Why would you wear
and tear the Lotus Petal. Very nice. Combo.
I think that's going to be pretty close to it.
Yep. Socrates dumps that card top deck on the battlefield on the hand because his Dak Vaden. Yes.
Free.
I'm happy.
Lotus Petal.
Yeah. Oh, days. Oh, man. Well, as much as we love Dak Vaden, he eats a days like nobody's business on turn 3.
Guys,
that was brutal.
Thanks so much for watching. That was a brutal game. Well played by Cameron Bird, I think.
Very nicely engineered and loose keep from Socrates. But there was a point at which if he resolved that Blood Moon, it would be amazing. But we knew he wasn't going to get there. Not at turn 3.
Thanks for watching, guys. We're Adelaide Eternal. I'm Beckett, Wolfe. That's Sarven McLinton.
We'll see you soon. We'll be up in the following month.
What's up next?
Next is Vintage, my favourite.
Oh, that's my favourite.
Yeah. Oh, well, hopefully we'll be playing each other.
I hope not. See you then, guys. Thanks for watching.